Good morning, and it's good to have you join us on Nigeria Now, showing on your digital first Pan-African news network, coming to you live from Nigeria's federal capital city, Abuja. My name is Merciful Ajinomo. Join me in the studio to analyze some stories this morning from the front pages of the national dailies is Adebayo Fajimi. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
How you doing?
I'm very fine.
Good. Let's begin from the Daily Trust newspaper. The banner headline there says, COVID-19 Omicron, Buhari, 10 ministers jet out to Dubai. And the three riders underneath the story. The first, how Nigeria detected 3 cases. And then Ramaphosa's visit successful despite scare. That's coming from the president. Federal government's directive flops as unvaccinated workers access offices. We can see the picture right there of civil servants who have not taken the COVID-19 vaccination denied entry into the Federal Secretariat in Abuja just yesterday. How do you react to this news? Yesterday, we had people who spoke to the team of TOS and said some of them who have not been vaccinated could not access the building. What's your take on that?
Well, it is good because, this man said the other time that everybody has right to live. Because if you say, okay, you don't want to take it, you cannot, because of that, endanger the life of other people. This virus is very deadly, so we need to take proactive measures. So the measure the federal government is taking, is good, but it's not good enough, because the good thing is you cannot force people to take this thing. Even though you bar them not to access their working places, how sure are you that they will not boycott the process? Because we are Nigerians and we know how things happen. So the approach is not enough. I think they need to be more tactical and be more strategic, in terms of deploying measures to ensure that, because I think what they should have done is, number one, like we are addressing COVID-19 inequality, the distribution of inequality process of this vaccine, and Africa is affected. So I think, number one, they need to address that inequality, because we don't have enough vaccine. 2 is that we need to embark on aggressive sensitization. People need to be aware. People need to be orientated about or on the need for them to take this vaccine. So I think if they can, go on those 2 areas, I think this thing will be reduced to the barest minimum, rather than just barring people and all of that, because there is no way people will not boycott the mayor.
Still on the Daily Trust newspaper there, we see from the very bottom there, death toll in Kano boat tragedy rises to 29. We can get out on page 6 of the Daily Trust. And then from the very top, ignorant emotion threatening national unity, coming from the Sultan. And the Electoral Act, what will guide us in replying Buhari's letter? Of course, that's coming from INEC. All of that can be found on the Daily Trust newspaper. The bottom there is ISWAP abduct 6 Borno officials. That can be found on page 13. Despite receiving millions monthly, FCT Council chairs deny teachers allowances. We can get our story on page 27 of the Daily Times newspaper, of the Daily Trust newspaper rather. Now we'll move to the Daily Times, and the banner headline there is Buhari to Ramaphosa, let's enhance people-to-people relations, avoid unhealthy competition. The writer says a strong bond of brotherhood between Nigeria and South Africa of great benefit to Africa. And from the very top there, stop divisive, barefaced publicity stunt, be patriotic, presidency tells Serap. And then from the bottom there, Dangote Folio Media and Creative Academy trained 60 journalists in Northwest. We can get out on page 6. UBA reaffirms leadership position with African Bank of the Year award. And Kogi APC disowns Mustafa Audu over party leadership crisis. And then from the bottom there, we will no longer keep quiet over Oton's misrule in Benue State. Of course, that's coming from the APC on page 35 of the Daily Times. The Punch newspaper, of course, the banner is Omicron. Canada bars Nigerians. Fear spreads as NCDC records 3 cases. 3 riders, the first variant detected in 3 persons with travel history to South Africa, says NCDC. Contact tracing never effective. Variant already in circulation. That's coming from virologists. And Africa accounts for only 4.3% of COVID-19 global fatalities, state ECOWAS. And on the bottom there, we see government bars unvaccinated civil servants, military issues directive. We're seeing something on page 30. Resign before December 18th. Fayemi tells appointees nursing governor ambition. What can you say to this story of Fayemi telling appointees in the state who are nursing the ideas to become governors?
Of course, that is normal. So I think that's a norm in our system. So if you have an ambition, remember the spokesperson to Governor Otom also not too long is Chief Press Secretary who wants to become the governor. In the subsequent election, he also resigned, and a couple of us. So it is a normal thing for them to resign. So because if there is no way you can be in the system and the same
I want
time
to come back in the system.
No, what I'm saying is you cannot be in the system and there's going to be a lot of distraction. And the standard is, if you have an ambition, they lay down rules, you resign, then so you can concentrate fully on your political ambition. I think that is not bad. So it is a nominal system.
Okay. And still on the Punch, you see Lagos hoodlums hack NURTW boss at home, shoot him dead in hospital, like I'm found on page 4 and 5 of the Punch. And then 6.9 billion naira fraud. Fayoshe's ally deposited 209 million naira cash for property, says witness. That can be found on page 26 of the Punch newspaper. Nigeria News Direct paper here. The first story we can see is reps order FIRS others to recover 2.6 trillion naira debt from 77 oil firms. That story can be found on page 22. From the very top there, Osun government commits 3.6 billion naira to rehabilitate roads in Ikere, Ile-Ife. We can get out on page 3 of the Nigerian News Direct newspaper. Do you think 3.6 billion naira, from your own understanding, is enough to fix the roads in Osun State?
Yes, well, it is not enough because you have many roads. However, I will turn pause, for the governor because, especially that, because I know the road very well, Ikire. It is a very terrible road. I have an uncle who is a lawyer who traveled from Lagos down to my village recently. He complained bitterly, and virtually everybody, plying that road. So it is in a bad condition. And for him to have considered it worthwhile to say, okay, this time he wants to fix it, I think it's a good one for him. The money is not enough, and considering the fact that the revenue coming to the state is just very little. So it's a good one, and don't forget government is continuum. So it is, from one phase to another. So you cannot finish everything. So but for this one, it's a good one.
Okay, still on that paper, we see why Nigeria did not sign OECD minimum corporate tax agreement coming from the FIRS. All of that can be found on Nigerian News Direct. And still on the paper, page 21 says, NSAS white paper, Lagos complied with law to reach its decision coming from the Attorney General of the Federation. Edo gets 2.5 billion naira grant from ASR Africa for equipping Stella Obasanjo Hospital, and Senate wants presidency to take over Navy's largest ship. The last paper this time is Blueprint, the banner headline, of course, talking about Ramaphosa's visit to Buhari. Nigeria announces 3 Omicron, 105 COVID-19 cases. We see economic damage of travel ban devastating coming from the South African president. Urges reversal, Lords Africa solidarity. State visit successful despite scare coming from Buhari. Let's avoid unhealthy competition, federal government tells South Africa. And we see NAFDAC recovers 2 trillion naira worth of tramadol, 5 billion naira fake medicines, others. That can be found on page 5 of the Blueprint newspaper. And then Nigeria to record current account deficit of 9.1 billion naira in 2021. That's a report that can be found on page 23 of the Blueprint newspaper. Don't forget to grab yourself a copy of all of these newspapers that we've read out to you so you can stay updated with happenings in Nigeria and of course across Africa. Also, our website is right there for you to visit and stay updated on happenings in Nigeria and Africa, and also our social media platforms are there so you can follow us and stay updated. My name is Merciful Lajinamo. Thank you so much for joining us on Nigeria Now. See you tomorrow.